Hello, welcome back. We're going to discuss programming with Scratch. We're doing the Star Hunter, but I'm giving you a video with the weather starting to get bad. I want us to have the opportunity that you can view this when you need to view it and you can move more at your pace. Many of you are patiently waiting on me as I try to go through it or answer questions, and you get bored. Some of you, though, you feel like I'm going too fast or you don't understand something and you want me to repeat it. Well, this way you can watch this as often as you need to and rewind it when you need to. So we're going to try this, see if this helps a little bit. First, we're going to go to sign in with your account. Make sure you put in your username, password. When that opens up, we want to look here for the folder. In the folder, you should see the file that you called Hunting Stars. That's how we're saving our work, and that's where we should be. I'm going to quickly go through and show you what you should have for, excuse me, for each sprite. If you do not have this, pause the video and make sure you go through and record what we have here. So for the cat flying, we want to use this sprite. You can go through the menu and find that. And we need to have this code right here. Now, when I said bubble, obviously I misspelled bubble, and so I've got some really weird things. And so what I want to do is go up here to sounds, and I want to type in. Let's see if that does not help. I did not see that change any. I will work on finding that better, but it shows right there. So if I go back to code and then I go here, so we'll see if that helps a little bit. I need to work on that and test it. From there, let's go down to our starfish. Again, you can choose your starfish, and this is the code we need for that. Now, for the shark, here's a longer strip of code. Make sure you have all of this. We talked about moving 10 steps, and if on edge, bounce. The key was we were needing to change our rotation style, left to right. This way it stays up when it's going back and forth. And then you can change your size. Now, I recommend changing your size for all the sprites. So we're going to do that real quick. We're going to go here to the flying cat. We're going to remember size is dealing with looks. So we want to go through here and find change size, set size, or change size by 50%. And you can also do that. So we're going to use the one of set size. And it doesn't matter which one we put it in. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to change that to 50%. Now, understand, if I shrink everything down, then that just gives me more screen area for me to develop and work with my game. And sometimes that is really critical because our game may be super simple if we if everything's so large that you can't avoid it. So think about that. That's what we need to look at. So beyond that, we need to look now at how can we move this shark. Right now, it's just moving back and forth. That's not much of an obstacle, not much of a challenge. But if the shark starts chasing our flying cat, that's going to make it more of an issue. And so we need to think about how can we do that. Um, One thing we can do, since we've changed the size, we can also go in and say we want it to point in a random direction. So let's go down here, and since we're dealing with point, we want to look for point in direction. Now, this is a good example here. So I can sit here and say point in direction, but I want to make it random. Now, please understand, this is much like what you've experienced in math. We're dealing with a compass here. We have 0 degrees when we're straight up. When we're here, we're at 90. When we're here, we're at 180. If we are here, it could be either 270 or negative 90. Now, that's the key. It really depends upon what you're putting in here, and you need to think about that. I'm going to change it and I'm going to randomize it. I'm going to make it 135 so that it bounces off at really strange angles. I think that would really help. If it's, again, very consistent, then it's easy for you to know where it's going. But if we change it to something random, that's what we want in a game. You want random because that challenges people. So think about that. Now, the other thing we can do is we can duplicate this one. So if we come down here, right click, we can duplicate, and now we have two sharks. And we've got the same code. We didn't have to rewrite our code when we duplicated it. It went ahead and copied that code over. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change this to 155. So now they're bouncing off at different degrees. Now we're really starting to think. We're starting to complicate the game. But now we also have more than one to avoid. The other thing is we can also, instead of moving 10 steps, we can change it to where we only want it to move maybe 2 steps. So you can see we're making some changes so each one is acting a little bit different. This can really help enhance your game. All right, now here's another thing we could do. We said we wanted to point in direction, but what if we pointed in direction a different way? What if we said point in direction and we change that to random? So let's see if we've got that option on here. So could we, now random is going to be an operator. Pick random. So can we put right here, we don't want size, point and direction. So we were able to go in there and put pick random, and we could say negative 179 because we're only going to go negative 180 to 180. Now that's pretty much the entire screen. But notice what it's doing here. It's just taking, oh yeah, that's right. It's only taking 2 steps. So with that, it's really causing it not to move very far. Well, we need to change that. Let's say we're going to change that to 15. Now let's see what it would do. So cover your ears. It might get loud. We're going to hit play. Now I can see some of my sharks are doing better. Some of them were not. But I noticed my size of everything really got small. I might need to make this one even smaller. But I like what it did. Let's try this again. So now everything's moving around. Need to work on the distance of the of the sharks, excuse me. The sharks really aren't moving very far. So let's make it 100 steps. And let's make this one 150. Stop. Well, that shark caught me pretty quick there. I wasn't paying attention. So let's try again. Okay, now I like that. Let's go back here. This one really didn't move much though. So let's move it up here, see if maybe it's caught in that corner. Okay. Well, I can already tell the one thing we need to do is we need to work on slowing it down. We're going to talk more about that here in a little bit. So let's look at our sharks. We've got this size. We've got on edge, move 150 feet. We're going to try this one. We're going to make it 200 feet. Or 200 steps, excuse me. All right. I need to look. Now, if you notice when you click on your sprite, it then changes down here to show the code. So if you've got one sprite that's doing something different, click on it, and then you can look at the code and see. move 200 steps if on edge bounce, set rotation style left to right, set size to 50%, point in direction. I'm not seeing, I did not put the pick random on there. You can see that real quick, that's going to be my issue. So I'm going to go back over here and I want to take my pick random. I'll put it here. Again, change this one to negative 179, 180. Okay, so now we've really modified that, and I think you're going to like what you're going to see. Now, I will say there's different ways we could do it. We've got all of this here in our forever statement, but technically we could sit there and put our size up here. We could also point in direction. That's going to be, again, it's going to be understood that it's going to be forever because it's going to pick random every time it starts over. So this is another way that we could have written it. And this is where you have to really think before you put something in the forever statement. Do I need to have that there? This is, again, could be a way that you're cleaning up your coding and making it look neater and more organized, but also it makes more sense as you're reading through it. So understand how we put in our random numbers in there and what that is to do. Next, we're going to be next video is going to talk about collecting stars. I hope this has helped you. Make sure you take the time, go back, look it over, ask questions if you have any, but also help your teammates. If you see one of your teammates is having difficulties, talk to them. See if you can explain what you've done on your screen that may help them to understand. But again, to look at the code for each one of the sprites, you can click down here, or you can click here on the screen with that sprite. You may have to double click, but often that way you know, well, I can't tell which one is Shark 2 and which one's Shark 3. Just double click on it and then it shows. Hope those hints will help you. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope everybody's doing well, and pay attention to your assignments. Classes are going to be short this week. Take care.